what we are going to do when we get to this first topic, as I hit my banner, is we're going to be holding some people accountable for this topic. Let's talk about the BAFTAs. So the BAFTAs happened. Personally, I don't give a good goddamn about the awards, who won. Okay, congratulations to everybody that got their awards. Heard one battle after another, cleaned up. That was great. Marty Supreme basically didn't win. I don't think they won anything. So they I think they said that was the movie with the most losses in history. And plus, Alan Cumming was shady for that little joke that he made at Kylie Jenner's expense, because he was talking about some candy or something from the UK that they eat, and I guess try to equate it with like oral sex, because we know how a lot of them Kardashian or Kar-Jenners pretty much get their footing in the industry. Bringing their knee pads to every meeting. It wasn't for because they were smart business women. A lot of it was who y'all was spreading y'all legs for. And then y'all were able to make that into use sex to turn your little situation into an empire, thanks to Kim's vagina. But other than that, I just found it really interesting. I mean, I didn't watch the award show, but I did hear the drama that happened around that. So apparently what's been going on is Delroy Lindo and Michael Bakari Jordan got up on stage, and I think they were introducing one of the category. I think it was for like special effects or something. It might be in the story. It was best visual. Yeah, it was. It was best visual effects. Close enough. So that's what they were introducing. And then this dude that was like a Tourette's activist, and the movie was a movie he did was based off his life or whatever, started shouting a couple of derogatory words. I heard he dropped the F-bomb, and he was dropping a lot of cursing throughout the whole situation before it got to the point of him dropping, the ninja word. We got to keep it clean. The N word on, while they were watching or while they were presenting. So after all of that backlash that happened, we're going to get to the backlash. We're going to get to the backlash from Jamie Foxx, where he basically called it out, and Delroy Lindo's comment. He spoke out about it, as well as Sinners. Who was it? The production designer, Hannah Beachler. She also got a N-word stray from that dude. So we don't get into all of that, but I need to lay it on out for those who haven't been paying attention. So let's get into the article. So according to Variety, they said the British Academy has responded to the controversy surrounding the BAFTA Film Awards on Sunday night, where Tourette syndrome campaigner John Davidson made a number of offensive comments during the show. Among his involuntary outbursts caused by his condition was the N-word shouted when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented the award for Best Visual Effects for Avatar: Fire and Ash. Now, in a statement issued on Monday, BAFTA said that it took full responsibility for putting its guests in a very difficult situation, that we apologize to all. It also said it wanted to apologize unreservedly to Jordan and Lindo, saying we would like to thank Michael and Delroy for their incredible dignity and professionalism. I have a problem with that. Before we get to the rest of this article, your dignity and professional, excuse you, fuck you, first of all. And that's me without the Tourette's, because I don't have that shit. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: your mouth may be full of Tourette's, but these fists, they got Tourette's too. So I don't know how they're gonna respond to you saying that word to me. But I'm gonna get to my overall thoughts about that. But this shit done pissed me off. And I was like, when they went and made that comment about, I want to thank them for their incredible dignity and professionalism, because they're actors. They have to stand there. I mean, you don't have to, but when you're in the A-list and you going along to get along and you in the room with the elites, number one, you have to put yourself in a situation of these people. If I'm Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo and I'm standing there and somebody like a goddamn parrot that just learned a word. Like, if you saying that to me, I'm like, what did the motherfucker just say? And then I'm like, oh, now I gotta maintain a certain composure, because now that he done pissed me off, but I can't come out and react the way I want to react, because y'all gonna say, oh, he's aggressive and he's in the wrong, and here y'all go with the black stereotypes about black people being aggressive and mean and all those other things. I said, but wait a minute, so you didn't hear what this motherfucker was shouting from the audience? But my reaction to what his ignorant ass said is the problem, when he's the problem. And if you have issues where, you did a movie where you have a condition that the side effects is that you blurt out derogatory words, then maybe your ass should have stayed the fuck home, and you shouldn't have been out there in a live show. And that's why I'm gonna get y'all on your BAFTAs, because y'all are some damn hypocrites. Because y'all sitting there when it came to the N-word, because there was another thing that somebody said that y'all bleeped out. Y'all had no problem bleeping out when a director was like Free Palestine. Y'all remember to take that out, but you couldn't take out this man saying the N-word to these two and the production designer of Sinners. Y'all forgot to take that part out, but you could take out Free Palestine. Y'all remember to do that. So we know what it is that y'all, you're all about protecting the government and all this other stuff, especially when people sit and partake in, oh, well, we can't, Israel and the control and certain things that you can't say to a certain people, but Black lives don't matter to y'all. The disrespect of Black people is not a concern, but people sitting there speaking up for the dissolvement, the murder, the genocide of brown people in Palestine and Gaza, that all of a sudden y'all can remember to take that part out. So y'all can kiss my ass. I was gonna say from the back. It is behind me, so you would have to go from the back. You can kiss my entire ass on this apology. But let's get into it, because that shit pissed me off. It's like they're undeserved, their dignity and professionalism. So how come they always have to sit and be dignified and professional, but then the motherfucker can say whatever the hell he want to say, and we supposed to look the other way because all of a sudden everybody's an ableist. Everybody all of a sudden gives a fuck about some damn disabled person. Oh, so we supposed to just give a damn because he got a disability. He gets a pass. But these Black people that were disrespected, oh, I'm so happy that y'all were dignified and professionalism through the disrespect. Because if it was me, I'd have slapped the shit out of him. I don't give a fuck what his disability is. And on that point, let me ask you this. Because we've been noticing this trend of people who like to hide behind traumatic situations and disabilities to excuse racist behavior. So are we forgiving Kanye? Does that mean that all is forgiven, that Kanye can come back and start touring on his own now because of the anti-Semitic stuff he said about Jewish people? He blamed that on a car accident. So do we get to move the goalposts on that, or is it just different because it's a white man in media or in the industry? So white people get to have a pass and excuses, but if anybody else does the same goddamn thing, all of a sudden, like all bets are off. Just let me know where the goalpost is, so I know where to move it. Just let me know. So. They said the situation was addressed in the ceremony on the night where host Alan Cumming, who I'm going to cuss his ass out in a second too, but let me finish, made two statements thanking the crowd for its understanding of Davidson's disability and apologizing should anyone have been offended. That's another line that's pissed me off. Should anyone have been offended? And Alan, this ain't the first time your ass, and I'm so somebody called this out, this ain't the first time his ass has kind of been sort of racist too, because I don't know if it was Kempire on one of the shows I was watching, but they said that he did an interview recently. I can't remember exactly who the interview was with, but they were asking him about the traders and who was the most problematic trader or whatever that I guess that he had to deal with on the show. He couldn't remember the girl name, but it looked like he was trying to choose his words carefully on how to describe her, but I'm assuming she was Black. So I'm starting to think that Alan Cumming, you might A, be racist, or B, you have racial blind spots that you need to be called out on. And I'm calling your ass out, and I ain't the only one, because he was called out by another person too. When we're gonna get to that in a second. But he was, when you're sitting up here saying, when you're trying to make excuses for this guy's disability, and it just feels like what Hannah Bleachler said, it was a throwaway. That it felt like your apology felt a little throwawayish. Because when you're sitting there saying that, oh, and then they went on and said, because when you said you're thanking everybody, oh, please, I'm thanking you so much for understanding. I'm like, If you know somebody has outbursts and going to be disrespectful, I'm not going to sit there and just be like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. We can't say nothing because he's got a disability. Something has to be done. I don't know what that is. Maybe call it a supervisor or whatever the case was. Like, you're doing all this. You can't be up in here. So then they went on and said that he excused himself from the ceremony about halfway through. Oh, I'm so glad he found it within his heart to actually realize that he was being a nuisance and had to get up and leave. I'm glad he voluntarily left Kudos to him. You want a fucking cookie? So they excused himself in the ceremony about halfway through, but the situation only escalated when the BBC kept the racial slur in its tape-delayed broadcast, something it too apologized for before removing the program from its iPlayer streaming services. Now, in a news statement, they took time to praise Davison for choosing to leave this. Oh my God, here y'all go. Y'all, it's like, it's the wording, it's the way that y'all do that. And it's like, y'all don't realize how rooted in your own whiteness that y'all are in this whole situation. They don't see it. But it's sad that we as people of color have to always see through the bullshit and call it out for y'all for you to get it. But they don't see it because this is not something they have to deal with until you say something towards them that affects them. Then all of a sudden they want us all to feel bad for them. Just like this whole situation where the world is becoming what it's becoming. It's like, but wait a minute, we done told you motherfuckers how the world was and what was going on. We told you the world was on fire. We told you the world was unfair towards people of color. But now that y'all are being affected, like what happened with Renee Good and that whole situation, now y'all wanted us to jump up and down and feel and want to join hands and sing Kumbaya and link arms and all that shit. It's like, we done told y'all. Now we just going to sit back and watch the world burn and y'all have to deal with the aftermath of it. Same thing with this shit. And this is where I feel like black people, but y'all not going to do it in Hollywood. Y'all need to stop going around moving like tap dancing for these goddamn award shows because y'all want to be in the room with these elites. This is the time where y'all need to start putting energy into shows for colored people by colored people. Because y'all sitting up here thinking, oh yeah, we in the room with these people and they care about us and all these other things. And then this happens and then you're reminded what you are at the end of the day. What that man said with the Tourette's. Because they'll be quick to remind you of who you are. And that's what I keep trying to tell y'all. Stop always trying to be thinking like, well, because Sinners is getting all these awards and they're acknowledging certain things that, yeah, the world is changing. No, these people are wolves in sheep's clothing. A lot of them try to act like that they're liberal in a lot of what they believe or very open-minded and stuff. No, they all, at the end of the day, they wallow in their own bigotry. They wallow in their own conservatism. And that's all they care about. And the sooner y'all realize that, the better. So here's their tight ass statement because we have to be practical when we talk about these things. So it says, at the BAFTA Film Awards last night, our guests heard very offensive language that carries incomparable trauma and pain for so many. We want to acknowledge the harm this has caused, address what happened, and apologize to all. One of our guests, John Davison, MBE, has Tourette syndrome and has devoted his life to educating and campaigning for better understanding of this condition. Well, you did a horrible job of doing that because I'm thinking like if you got all the money in the world or whatever the case is, you're supposed to be this advocate. Aren't there systems in place that help y'all try to nip that condition in the bud? Or if you do get into situations where maybe, I don't know, if your tics or your nervousness is igniting the tick even more to the extreme that there are things that you could do to kind of nip that in the bud. I'm just asking because I don't know much about Tourette's, but I'm assuming that the way y'all go about it now, where y'all want to have all these acronyms, all these new companies and all these other things that y'all want us to feel sympathy and empathy for, that y'all got things in place that's supposed to help your ability or disability, whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm just asking. Because you want me to understand, and I'm understanding, but y'all don't seem to understand how this affects the other people. And two things can be true at the same time. Where it's like, we understand the disability, but you also should understand how do you think these people feel when you said what you said to them and how that affects them. I don't give a good goddamn about your ability, or your disability. So we got to call it out on all sides. You can't just be like, oh, well, we got to feel for the man with the Tourette's. But fuck their drag, right? We take the duty of care to all our guests very seriously and start from a position of inclusion. We took measures to make sure those in attendance aware of the tics, announcing to the audience before the ceremony began and throughout that John was in the room and that they may hear strong language, involuntary noises, or movements during the ceremony. Also, we are that this contains strong language, violence, and nudity. Viewer discretion advised. This is not the MPAA. We're not doing that. Because you're not going to prepare me for no shit and be like, okay, we're just going to just sit there and be quiet and, ooh, he said that, okay, but that's the tick. Okay. Let's look the other way and pretend we don't hear it. I'm no. His ass should have stayed the fuck home. And you should have had somebody accept the award on his behalf, or he filmed something via satellite, thanking people and keeping it moving. Y'all decided to put him in the audience, knowing full on well that we was going to be aware of, and we supposed to just be okay with it because he's got a disability and we got to be all fucking inclusive. Suck my dick from the back. Now, during the ceremony, John chose to leave the auditorium and watch the rest of the ceremony from a screen, which you probably should have had him do from the beginning, put him in a damn suite, so that way he'd have to be with just him and all them ticks by himself, or an assistant, whoever he be rolling with that's used to it. And we would like to thank him for his dignity and consideration. But okay, I'm done. Because now y'all talking about dignity and consideration. Y'all getting on my goddamn nerves. Oh, and so then he also released a statement. So we got to get into that. So he also said, I want to thank BAFTA and everyone else at the award last night for their support and understanding and inviting me to attend the broadcast. I appreciated the announcement to the auditorium in advance of the recording. Excuse me, warning everyone that my tics are involuntary and not a reflection of my personal beliefs. Now, why do I feel like I'm having a goddamn tick trying to process that last sentence? It's not a reflection of his personal beliefs. Well, you do know the word nigga is taught. It's not something that you just wake up one morning and it just files in your brain. You saw black people a couple of times, and you felt it in your spirit to shout that word. But that's not a reflection of your personal beliefs? Okay. I was heartened by the round of applause that followed this announcement and felt welcome and understood in an environment that would normally be impossible for me. In addition to the announcement by Alan Cumming, the BBC, and BAFTA, I can only add that I am and always have been deeply mortified if anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning. But where's the part where you actually say that you shouldn't have said that word? Where's that part in the sentence? I was in attendance to celebrate the film of my life, I swear, which more than any film or TV documentary explains the origins, conditions, traits, and manifestations of Tourette syndrome. So everybody got Tourette's be saying, nigga, put me on. I have spent my life trying to support and empower the Tourette's community and to teach empathy, kindness, and understanding from others. I will continue to do so. I chose to leave the auditorium. Okay, I'm done. Look, can't even finish neither one of these because it's bullshit. Whatever. Now let's get into the next one. Because after that whole situation, production designer and nominee Hannah Beachler spoke out about the handling of the incident. She said that Alan Cummings' throwaway apology over the N-word being shouted during the BAFTA Film Awards made the situation worse. She said, I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs, and I can't find the words. The situation is almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night, and one of the 3 times was directed at myself on the way to dinner after the show. And a 3rd time at a black woman. I understand and deeply know why this is an impossible situation. I know we must handle this with grace and continue to push through, but what made the situation worse was the throwaway apology of if you were offended. And that's why I always say, regardless if it's racist, homophobic, any kind of phobia or negative thing that you say, when somebody says, if you were offended, excuse you, motherfucker, you can take that apology and shove it up your ass, which we already know Alan likes shit up his ass. So that probably would be comfort for her. But you run up in here saying, if you were offended by what this person said, no, please don't. I don't want your mouth on my dick. So even if I'm metaphorically speaking, no, you could pay it. And I was starting to like your ass. I liked you in the X-Men movie and I like you on the Traitors, but now you showing your entire ass and you pissing me off. So she said, of course we were offended, but our frequency, our spiritual vibration is tuned to a higher level than what happened. Absolutely. And that's why I said I'm high vibration when it comes to stuff like this. We're not low vibration like a lot of you bitches. I am not steel. This did not bounce off of me. They said she spelled steel wrong because steel should have been S-T-E-E-L, not S-T-E-A-L. S-T-E-A-L is when you're taking something that don't belong to you. It's funny how I got to sit up here and explain the difference between the two steels. in your spelling. But whatever, it happens. People be emotional and they start misspelling things, and it is what it is. So she said, I am not still, this did not bounce off me, but I exist above it. It can take away from who I am as an artist. I mean, it can't take away who I am as an artist. Beachler was understood to be referring to a number of outbursts by Tourette's campaigner John Davison, whose life inspired the BAFTA-nominated biopic, I Swear. Literally, as well as shouting the word fuck multiple times during speeches, including shut the fuck up during BAFTA chair Sarah Putt's introduction to the ceremony. He was also heard shouting the N-word when Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo presented Fire and Ash with the award for Best Visual Effects. BAFTA host Alan Cumming, we already talked about what he had said, saying that the strong language in the background can be a symptom of Tourette's for some people and thanking the audience for their understanding, blah, blah, blah. He also said Tourette's syndrome is a disability and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette's has no control over their language. We apologize if you are offended. Despite the ceremony airing with a 2-hour delay on BBC One in the UK and E in the US, the slur was not cut from the broadcast. So I Swear did win a number of awards during the evening, including one for actor Robert Aramayo, who beat out Jordan as well as Leonardo DiCaprio and Ethan Hawke to take home the leading man statue. Well, here's the thing: nobody ever heard of this damn movie before because it's not even nominated for for an Oscar. But I guess, I mean, is this dude British? That's probably why. So they said he was diagnosed with Tourette's at age of 25 after years of outburst. Well, you would think that if somebody having outbursts, y'all would have had that diagnosed eons ago. How he just getting diagnosed at 25? Now, before the ceremony began, a floor manager who addressed the audience to issue a number of notices regarding things such as fire safety protocol flagged that Davison was in the audience and that he has Tourette's. So please be aware, you might hear some, yeah, okay, whatever. We already know that y'all gave like 8 million damn warnings. So yeah, so she gave her thing. I feel like she said what she said, and it is what it is. I don't need to add any more to that. Now, to continue on, Jamie Foxx done gave his opinion on this situation because he was on social media and decided to go in and let have on Mr. Man with the parrot's disease, just shouting shit out like he a damn parrot. So he commented on an Instagram clip from the controversial moment, calling it unacceptable. Nah, he meant that shit, the Oscar winner wrote. Out of all the words you could have said, Tourette's makes you say that. Now, Davison hurled the N-word. Okay, we already know why he did it. We don't need to go through it again. We also need to talk about the whole half-ass bullshit apology that Alan Cumming decided to make on the behalf of everybody, but I guess fuck black people and what they think. The traders also know that, well, it was a disability, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So I totally agree with Jamie where he's like, yeah, he meant that. Unacceptable. Because my thing is, how all the words in the world that you saying when you see black people in a room or on stage, that's the word that keep popping up in your mind. Because racism isn't something that you just, it's a virus, it's a disease. It's something that is taught. It's something that is a behavior that you learn from somewhere. Either your family members, you probably came up growing up in a house full of damn racists. And because there's other people that's able to hide it well, or sorry, we live in a generation now, but because we got a certain fat orange fuck in the White House, he feels like he gives a battery in a lot of y'all backs to spew racial slurs and stuff, either on social media or in people's face. But when y'all say to people's face, we've been seeing the videos where y'all be getting knocked out. So if y'all want to fuck around and find out, let me know. Now, it's last but certainly not least, Delroy Lindo, who was the one who got hit with the racial slur, has spoken out while he was presenting an award at the show. So he said he was not impressed with how BAFTA reacted after Tourette syndrome advocate John Davison yelled a racial slur while Lindo was presenting an award with Michael B. Jordan during Sunday's ceremony. During the show, as y'all know, while they were presenting for Outstanding Special Visual Effects, they were called a ninja. Now, after the show, Lindo said that Nobody from the British Academy of Film and Television approached him or Jordan to offer an apology or acknowledge the incident at all. While speaking to Vanity Fair at a Warner Brothers after party, Lindo said that he and Jordan did what we had to do when we were on stage, but added that he wishes someone from BAFTA spoke to us afterwards. Which goes to tell you that they're only sorry and reacting because of the backlash. They're not sorry. They knew what was going on with that. And like I told y'all before, if they were sorry, they would not have. I mean, if they didn't know what they were doing, if they wouldn't know what this was going to happen or expected, whatever the case is, then why is it that y'all blurred out Free Palestine from a director who got on stage and accepted the award was saying Free Palestine? They bleeped that out. They removed it. But you can remove nigga multiple times that this guy was saying. So fuck you, BAFTAs. You're trash. You're corny. And you can take your apology and shove it where the goddamn sun don't shine. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I know it was a lot, but I wanted to wrap it all up and bring everybody's commentary. I don't think Michael is going to say anything about it until maybe, who knows, maybe when he's got a movie to promote, he'll put it on social media or something or another, or when he's got to do, or maybe around the time when the Oscars happen or any more award shows. I don't know if any more award shows is left. I know we got the Oscars coming next month. So if he goes on a red carpet, they'll ask him how he felt, probably ask him some questions or whatever the case is, and he'll address it then. But so far, he's not speaking out on it. And when I tell you, I don't give it a good goddamn if you got a disease where your asshole is about to fall out of your body and your intestines is coming out, whatever, or your brain's leaking out of your ass. I don't care what it is. When people show you who they are, regardless if you got Tourette's or whatever the case is, believe they ass the first time. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.